Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dig into something we all share? We're doing a deep dive into bone health today. Specifically, we're tackling osteoporosis. You want to really get a grip on those risks, right? And how to make sure our bones stay strong, for life. You've given us a ton of stuff to work with too. Brochures, leaflets, even a whole presentation from the FDA. Really interesting stuff.
It's something we often don't think about enough. You hear about heart health, brain health,
Right.
but bones, they kind of get overlooked.
It's true, like a silent thing almost.
Exactly. Silent threat is a good way to put it.
Mm.
And the numbers are kind of alarming when you see them. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men over 50, that is, they'll have a fracture because of osteoporosis.
Wow.
And we're not just talking about like tripping over something small.
Mm-hmm.
This is bones getting so weak that a little bump,
Yeah.
it can be serious.
This brochure, the 2015 Serve Up Bone Strength Throughout Life 1, it really hit me how serious this can be long term. We're talking chronic pain, trouble moving around even. Well, a higher risk of dying, especially after a hip fracture, is pretty scary. Have you ever, noticed your posture changing or even lost a bit of height?
Oh, those can definitely be signs, early warnings.
Those brochures, they don't mess around. One even has this picture comparing a healthy bone to one with osteoporosis. Night and day.
It's true. It's pretty stark.
They use words like thin and fragile, which...
Yeah, not what you want to hear about your own bones, that's for sure.
And to think, all this is going on, inside us all the time. Our bones are always renewing themselves.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it, this constant process.
So it's like, what, a construction zone in there?
In a way, yeah. You've got these cells, osteoblasts, they're like the builders, laying down new bone.
Okay.
And then the osteoclasts, they're more like the demolition crew, breaking down old bone.
So we've got these little crews working nonstop.
Exactly. And just like any construction project, they need the right materials, the right support.
That makes sense.
And that's where our lifestyle choices come in. What we eat, how much we move those things have a huge impact on those bone crews.
It makes you wonder, back in our teenage years, were we giving those crews what they needed?
Right. Were we building a good foundation, so to speak?
I know I wasn't as active as I should have been. Definitely more into books than, say, lifting weights. But hey, good news is it's never too late, right? Even if you weren't a track star back in the day.
Exactly. You can still strengthen those bones now. That's what I love about all this. It's never too late.
Okay, so building strong bones. What are the ingredients, the building blocks? This brochure, the 2015 one, again, it talks about calcium, vitamin D, and protein. Those are the big ones. And it even has these charts showing how much we need at different ages, which is super helpful.
Mhm.
And get this, they make it clear it's not just about downing gallons of milk for calcium.
Oh, yeah. There's so many good sources out there.
They've got this whole spread of calcium-rich foods, leafy greens, almonds, even canned fish with bones, figs even. Can you believe it?
Right. It just shows eating a variety of foods is key.
Now, I know you had a question about calcium supplements.
I do.
Yeah.
I've been wondering, should I be taking them? Are they really worth it? What about those heart risks I keep hearing about? It's a lot to consider.
It's a big question, for sure, and it's one that even the experts are, still figuring out. This FDA presentation, it really digs into the research, and it's honestly kind of mixed. Some studies say supplements can be good, but others are worried about those heart risks you mentioned.
So is it a yes or a no on the calcium supplements?
It's tough to say. It's not that simple, unfortunately. It's more about weighing the good and the bad and what's right for you specifically. The FDA presentation really stressed that talking to your doctor is key. They can help you figure out if supplements are a good idea for you, especially considering your overall health and any other meds you might be on. It's you got to find that balance, right?
Right.
What works for one person might not be right for another.
Exactly. It's about personalized health, which is what we all want, right?
For sure. Now, we've talked about getting enough calcium, but what about actually using those bones? This leaflet, The Strong Bones Make Stronger Women. One, it's all about how important exercise is. It even said that even a little bit of bone density improvement from exercising can make a huge difference in preventing those fractures.
It's amazing how resilient the human body is, isn't it?
Totally. So weight-bearing exercise, muscle strengthening, those are key, especially as we age. But I know you were wondering about finding exercises that are safe, especially if you've been, not very active or have other health issues.
That's where it gets tricky, right?
Right.
You don't want to overdo it.
Exactly. So what do you recommend?
Honestly, talking to a pro is always the best bet. A doctor, a physical therapist, they can really help you create a plan that works for you. They can help you find exercises that'll strengthen your bones without putting too much stress on them.
Okay, so that's super important. Now, shifting gears a bit, we've been talking about what makes bones stronger, but what about the things that kind of work against us? Both of these brochures, OP in Men and Know Your Risk, they spend a lot of time on risk
And
factors.
for good reason, right?
Hmm.
Knowing what your risks are, that's so important. It lets you be
For
proactive.
sure.
Some things we can't change, like our family history or how old we are, but there's a lot we can control.
Absolutely. And these brochures, they lay it all out very clearly. Smoking, too much alcohol, not enough exercise. Those are the obvious ones. But some of the other ones, like low BMI was one that I was surprised by.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I always thought that being on the lighter side was like better overall.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
It does.
But when it comes to bones, being underweight can actually be a risk factor for osteoporosis. It might mean you're not getting those nutrients your bones need, and it can also make falls more dangerous.
So it's about finding that healthy middle ground, right?
Exactly.
So thinking about your own life, your own health history, are there any of these risk factors that, make you stop and think?
Well, getting enough vitamin D is a big one for me. I live somewhere that doesn't get much sun in the winter, so
Yeah, that's a common one for sure.
it's tough.
It is. Now, let's say someone is worried about their bone health. What should they do? What's the next step?
Talk to their doctor. That's always the first step. They can figure out your risk and if
Right.
you need any tests.
Right. And that FDA presentation, it really opened my eyes to all the different ways they can test for osteoporosis now. The DEXA scan, that's the common one, right? But what I thought was really cool was this idea of opportunistic screening. So if you're getting a CT scan or an X-ray for something else, a lot of times doctors can check your bone health from those images without needing a whole separate test.
How convenient is that?
Right. Talk about efficient.
It's like a 2-for-1 deal.
Exactly. Okay, so what happens if someone is diagnosed with osteoporosis? Is it like a done deal? Are they stuck with weak bones forever?
Not at all. It's not a life sentence, thankfully. While there isn't a cure for osteoporosis, it is treatable and preventable.
That's good to hear. But I know you had some worries about the medications for osteoporosis, especially those side effects.
Yeah, it's natural to be concerned about medications, right?
Yeah.
No one wants to take something if they don't have to.
Definitely.
But that FDA presentation actually talked about this directly. They said that serious side effects from osteoporosis meds are actually pretty rare. And the benefits, they often outweigh those risks, especially for people who are at high risk of breaking a bone. The big thing they stressed was talking to your doctor. If you have any concerns, talk to them and make a decision together based on your own situation.
But it's not all about meds then, right? There's a lot you can do yourself, like we talked about.
Absolutely. Lifestyle choices make a huge difference. Getting enough calcium, vitamin D, like we talked about, regular exercise, and of course, not smoking.
Right, right. All those things add up.
It's about taking care of your whole self, really. And remembering, too, you're not alone in this. There are doctors, there are websites, support groups, all sorts of resources out there.
That's so important, knowing where to go for help.
Absolutely.
It just seems like so often we wait till something's wrong to pay attention?
Mm-hmm.
But with bones, it's like, why wait for a fracture? We can take action now and keep our skeletons in good shape for years to come.
That's such a good point. It's like investing in your future self.
Yeah.
You wouldn't wait for your car to totally break down before taking it to the mechanic.
Exactly. And hey, it's never too early or too late to start thinking about bone health.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about what osteoporosis is, what causes it, how to build strong bones, how to stay healthy as we get older. Phew. So if there's one thing you hope our listeners take away from all this, what would it be?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is bone health is a journey. It's not a one-time thing. And like with any journey, it's good to have a map, to be informed, be aware, and have support along the way.
Love that. A journey. Okay, well, until next time, everyone, keep those bones strong and keep exploring.